Welcome back, friends, to the Performance Mindset Podcast. I'm your host, Amy Calandrino, founder and CEO of Beyond Commercial, located in Orlando, Florida. The goal of this podcast is to connect you to some of the impactful and influential individuals I've met along the way. If you're looking to grow, you are tuning into the right show. I'm super excited to have someone with me today that has actually become a friend. And I got introduced to Natasha through Beth Azor, which many of you in the commercial real estate industry and beyond know about. But yeah, let me give you a little bit of information about her and then we'll get right into the podcast. Natasha is a distinguished figure in the realm of multifamily real estate. She's based in South Florida, and she's carved out a niche for herself by focusing on strategic investments and innovative growth strategies that have significantly expanded her portfolio and influence in the industry. She began her career as a CPA, and funny story, I'll talk about the spreadsheet we did. And I was like, oh yeah, she knows her numbers, and ran real estate investment companies for others for over 16 years. In 2019, she started her own firm. Wow, so 5 years now. That's awesome. Yeah. And she swiftly made her mark by identifying and capitalizing on unique opportunities in the multifamily market. Her approach emphasizes sustainable growth and community impact. And so it's multiplied her achievements and it set her apart as a thought leader. Beyond her professional prowess, she is an active member of the Power Beacons, advocating for women's safety and success in commercial real estate. And her insights on the market and investments have made her a sought-after speaker and influencer in the field. Welcome to the show.
What a fabulous intro. You're amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I love my big words.
I love it. And I'm so happy to chat with you today and share some of our knowledge with all of your listeners.
Yeah, it's so cool that, I think it was like exactly a year ago today, like a year ago, like last July, that we got connected. I think we probably knew of each other, but then we actually stayed together in this gigantic house that Beth Azor got for us to go out to the Globe Street Women of Influence. And it was just super cool each day to get together, drink coffee on the back porch, and then overhear each other doing our different activities and then going to these different events throughout the way. I think anyone listening to the show, if you have an opportunity going to a industry event, consider staying with some other people in your industry. It's super cool. And I think it provides a much different experience than just staying in a hotel by yourself. So
we really got to know each other and really expanded our group and networked, right? Helped each other. And it was pretty awesome.
There were so many little mini masterminds. I was going through some different staffing challenges at the time, and people gave me some different insights, and I was able to make some pivots, and it was just really super cool. So, but let's talk a little bit about how you got into multifamily. Of course, you were a CPA before, and then what initially drew you to South Florida? Specifically, you do a lot in Hialeah in Little Havana.
Yes. So I learned about real estate when I was with the CPA firm, because I didn't even know that investing in real estate was a thing.
Right.
You went out, you got a job, you worked, and that was that. But fast forward to working for someone, a developer, shopping center owner, an investor for over 16 years, I realized it was time for me to start investing for me, for my family, and for generational growth and for us. I picked multifamily, and it's not that exciting. When I took a little time off and I renovated a house, and I said, you know what? I really enjoy this. I really enjoy placing people in homes, and it just felt good. So I started exploring different things and started exploring duplexes, homes. And it took me about I would say, a year to really figure out that I wanted to do multifamily. And when I started, and I think this is a great thing for any of your listeners that are just getting started, I started macro. I started when, if a broker would call me and ask me, oh, well, where do you invest? I would say, oh, South Florida. That doesn't work. You really need to figure out what market you want to be in, really hone in and learn that area, and then go out and start with your assets. And why do I say that? My markets are Hialeah, Little Havana, and that real small, not so small, but small part of the South Florida market. And that is the only place that I invest in one small little place in Miami Beach. And we're talking about a 3-block area in Miami Beach. So I got started by buying the first property when I said, okay, I am focused on multifamily. And I spent a lot of time in order to buy my first asset, a great deal of time to do that. And then from there, I continued, and I'm where I am today.
Now, on the first one, did you do that fully on your own, or did you seek out investors, or how did you do the first one?
So I invested before I started my company, and we can talk about that as well. But when I started my firm, that I said I am investing in multifamily, I did that on my own. So I would say half of my portfolio I own, and the other half is syndicated, because I also believe very strongly that everyone should invest in real estate, but not everyone needs to be active in real estate.
Right.
So do what you love. If it's not in our realm of business, you own a store or a restaurant or other things, but invest in real estate. So I created a syndication on a few of my deals, and have others that invest along with me in those.
That's awesome. Now, with that, when was your first syndication?
My first syndication was about 3 years ago.
Okay.
3 years ago. Prior to that, I was all of the deals that I did previously was on my own, and they're doing great. You mentioned Beth. Beth is in 4 of my deals.
Yeah. That's awesome. And then you were talking a little bit about active, and I'm sure you're making the demarcation between active versus passive. So if someone's listening to the show now and they aren't active in commercial real estate like us, and understand that difference, and maybe they're a CEO with a company and they're not investing in it, or otherwise, or thinking of investing, can you talk a little bit about the differences between the two? And then also, syndicating means like you're probably buying into more of like a passive investment, or what those different terms mean, and break it down.
That's great. So let's start with active versus passive investing. So active investing is basically what I do day to day. You find the property, you source the property, you property manage, you do the asset management. So you are involved in all of the day-to-day activities, the leasing, all of the day-to-day activities to make sure that the asset is performing as it should.
Yeah.
Passive, and so to make sure that you have returns.
Yeah.
Passive is you enjoy the benefits of the returns, but you do not do the work day to day. So you are there's a lot of different terms that are used, but you are a limited partner, meaning you provide an investment, you invest your funds into the opportunity, and you receive a return for your investment. Yeah. And that's what passive is. Now, in reference to a syndication, syndications are done in many different ways. Some people have funds that they raise money and then they buy many assets. Other individuals do it deal by deal. I do it deal by deal. So when you invest with me, I present to you the opportunity, and then you know exactly the address and the property and the returns that we're expecting for that particular property.
Okay. Very cool. And one of the things, and one thing I want to go back to is that you took this time off, you did the renovation in the home, and that kind of led you to multifamily. One of the things I found is if you're investing in what you really love, especially for an active investor, I think that's really important. And I come from professional services industry. And so, I've gotten into, first of all, owner occupied real estate, but then now I'm starting to do more investments. And so, but being active, like tomorrow, I have a meeting with the city of Orlando to do like a change of use. And, I'm having to make sure to constantly be replacing the landscapers that decide not to show up. And I'm sure you have many things that you're having to do. But I think if you love it, whether you're passive or you're active or you're drawn to it, it's going to fuel you wanting to continue to accelerate your investment in that asset, those types of assets.
I agree with that 100%. I believe that there's no bad asset class. Right. There are bad times in each asset class. That's just the nature of the investments. Right. But if you love the asset class that you're in, I agree completely with what you're saying. Even the bad stuff, you figure out how to take care of it. It's just a different mindset on how you get things done. Like I do not believe I would ever run a shopping center. I'd invest in one.
Yep.
But you give me a underperforming multifamily asset and I will do that all day long and clean it up for you. It's just one of those things. You do what you love. It does definitely make a difference in how things are handled.
And so you did your first syndication about, 4 or 5 years. You said like about 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. And then I first heard you in 2023 at Beth Azor's conference. And at that point, I think, did you owe about 40 assets or 40 units? Or how many were you at that point?
At that, when was this? 2023? This was 2 years ago. So back then, I think we were at like 30 something units. It was about 3 buildings or 4 buildings. And that is the time when your mindset is everything and how you think about things is everything. And this is a great story on how, if you put it out there, things happen. I think I was 40 something and I said, well, maybe I'll buy 20 more units this year. And she said to me, 20 more units? You're going to be at 100. I want you to say it to everyone out here. And I think there were like 300 ladies in the room. I want you to tell everyone out here that you are going to buy 100 units. And I'm like, okay. And guess what happened?
What?
100 units. I got to 97 units that year.
Yeah.
Because of that. Because I just put my mind to it and I put it out there. I put it out in the universe and it happened.
Well, I think too, you were around a community and outside of the performance mindset podcast that I have is I've created what's called like the sports success system, which I'll start to have more like curriculum around and all these different things. But the first S is synergistic, and it's the people and the environment that you're around. And I think if you had been in a room of people who are like, I don't even think you could do 20. Like it would have been a completely different result. Instead, you were around a group of people that believed in you and really wanted to push you. And I'm sure some ladies too probably texted you and checked in on you, like, how's it going? And then we were all like, woo, when you took the stage in 2024 and talked about what you had accomplished. And we were happy for you versus being around someone with a mindset that's like scarcity that'd been like, ugh, well, she got that and I didn't get that,
You're saying so many things there. Number one, surround yourself with people that are going to uplift you, right? Yep. So if I would have sat around and said, oh yeah, it's going to happen, and I wouldn't have done anything, it wasn't going to come. It wasn't going to manifest itself. It wasn't going to happen. And I wasn't going to secure those additional units. So that's the first thing that I completely agree with. Surround yourself with people that are going to uplift you. Find people that understand that are what you're doing, what you're trying to build. And I'm not talking about experts. I'm talking about people that, yes, experts, that's one thing. Find people that can help you, but also find people, like you just said, that can uplift you. Beth's conference is a perfect example of you're in that room and there is not one person that's not rooting for whatever it is that you want to accomplish. And you're right. I did get many calls. Hey, I'm so excited for you. Hey, how is it doing? How is that deal? Is it available? I want to invest with you. Like, just so many positive things happen if you put things out there and you surround yourself with the right people and you network with people that are like-minded.
Yeah. Yeah, and I actually dug in a couple of days ago into some of the different resources Beth has because I hiring a new junior, and I just think a lot of the things she said is so great.
Hmm.
And her book, like Don't Say No to the Prospect, like she was saying that sometimes, she was thinking about sending like an email at 11 o'clock at night, and then her mind would start to say, well, I shouldn't do that. What are they going to think about me? Are they going to think about work? And then she's like, no, you just got to push through that and
Right.
send the email at 11 o'clock at night, or do whatever you think that needs to be done. Don't say no to the opportunity, or don't say no to it ahead of time. Go through that. So so
Yes.
proud of you. So
Yes, and it's hard to do because we focus many times, and I'm guilty of this, like really guilty of this. What's going to happen? What are people going to say? Is somebody going to laugh at me? Is this going to be criticized? Is this the wrong thing to do? Just go out there and do it, because
yeah.
when you change that and you just go out there and do it, things start happening all like it's crazy, right? Things just start happening.
Oh, it's
And so
so
forgetting
crazy.
about that. Right. I mean, and you're really good at this because you're out there on social media, you're doing a lot of things, and you just do. And that's how you get results.
Yeah.
That's how you
Yeah.
get results.
I just try my best, and like you got to go to the X Gala. So
Yeah.
Justin, the former NFL player that started like investing in commercial real estate, like he was at Bob Knackle's like X Gala that he did with Don Tepman. And I've been like, I need to have him on my podcast. So I sent a couple like responses, and then didn't hear a reply. So then I was just like, no, I'm going to ask one more time. And then he's like, I'd love to. And I'm like, yes. So you just like do it. And my big person I'm thinking about is like, I want to ask, I'm going to block his address. I'm sending a note to Dr. Benjamin Hardy. I
love it.
because I've sent a couple LinkedIn messages about, he still might say no, but I'm going to put it out there anyways.
We make decisions for other people. So you reached out to him. He didn't answer the first two times, but he did the first two times. He may have been on vacation. He may have been busy. It could have been anything. It's not personal.
Don't project it onto you. Yeah.
Yes. And look, and then here we go. All righty. You're going to get that interview. You're going to see.
Yeah. So I really liked, you talked about your like more community focused model, and also having like a more elevated product, to the best, extent that you could do it within, the rent parameters that you're in. Like how did you kind of come up with that vision, and how has it evolved over time? And how do you think it differentiates you from the other product that's in the markets that you're in?
That's a great question. I first believe that all residents, regardless of the asset class, should live in nice, safe, like pretty beautiful places, because it's where they come home to every night. So that's my first thing. I believe that when you make repairs, there is no difference where a doorknob is a doorknob, a toilet is a toilet, and it doesn't matter if you're in an A class or a C class, you should do it right. So with that premise, I first believed in that. And then I believed in the beautification of the asset and in having respect for for the residents. All of that translates into greater returns, because people want to live in your building. Right. People, love. And how did I elevate the units? To answer that, I simply did a little extra work in sourcing things that were a little nicer, not necessarily pricier.
Right.
Just nicer. I invested a little more time, and now I have a machine where I know exactly where I source things. I know exactly what things are going to cost. And it was a little trial and error in the beginning, but now I can blindfold you and take you into any of my units, and you won't know where you are, because they're really nice.
That's so really cool. Nice. Yeah, I can't imagine being a tenant and you worked all day, you're coming home, and the fridge is broken, or the water's leaking, or the air conditioner's not working, and nobody cares to fix it. And especially I think for any resident that has, and I like to use the word resident, actually, I think you have some intentionality. I just use tenant because I'm so used to using landlord tenant in my
Yeah.
commercial setting versus,
Mhm.
but I like resident. It's like a higher level of respect, but I think the residents would get like really, sick of that. And I think if they've lived in your spot, then they're like, I don't have to worry about that anymore. And it gives them a lot of peace of mind.
Sometimes they don't know they have an option
Yeah.
until we show up and they see what's possible. And I mean, you'd be surprised. I mean, some things are repaired with duct tape. I mean, I have lots of pictures and stories of things. It's like, I can't believe this is the case. But sometimes they don't believe they have options till we, show them that we want them to live in a great place. I mean,
Right.
I recently planted trees on one of our properties. That's taking a little longer to renovate than normal, just because we're going through the permitting process and what have you. But it's just it's part of the deal. But I decided not to wait any longer because I usually do the landscaping after all the construction is done. Well, we put in trees. Long story short, we put in trees. I cannot tell you how happy the residents were just because we were beautifying the outside of their unit, and it's changed everything. So, like, just a little
Mm-hmm.
detail. Make sure, I would say, if you're, and I think that that's true in all asset classes. It's true for shopping centers. It's true for multifamily. The difference is that in my asset class, people live there, and others they don't. But I would say, take a little extra care of your asset,
Mm-hmm.
and it just pays dividends. Pays dividends.
Yeah, for sure. Now you're now part of the Power Beacon community of women, and we are all connected in commercial real estate. And we talked a lot about collaboration and networking being a key to your success. Do you think, do you have any other specific examples of how connecting with top influencers within the Power Beacons has influenced your business strategies or maybe your outlook to things?
I think, I believe, and we said it at the beginning of our conversation, that surrounding yourself with people that are first going to uplift you, kind and giving, like Beth likes to say, that want you to succeed and that really are rooting for you. That's like number one. So a group like the Power Beacons, it's, I know I can pick up the phone and call anyone on that group and ask a question or get some help or just use as a sounding board. And it's something that I recommend everyone should have.
Yes.
You should have a group of ladies in or a group. I may say ladies because we're all a group of ladies, but a group of ladies or a group for yourself that you can count on
Yeah.
to help you along your journey.
And it could be different groups too. Like we have a store here in Orlando called Track Shack, and they sell shoes, and they also put on these like running events. And so I've gotten to know like who are all the different runners. And even though I'm just finishing the first mile and they're already halfway through, like they still like have respect for me and they're
Yes.
cheering me on and wherever we are in our journey. And I think, whether it's fitness or business or reading books or different things, having these different or for me, I go to like a church Bible study, and like whatever it is having these like different communities. I think it is so beneficial. I think I read a quote not too long ago about being in silence and not having that, and how beneficial the different communities are. And of course, it's good to reflect within. I'm not saying you need to
No,
run
it's but
around
both.
but it's a little bit of both.
Both is important, and I agree with you. I mean, I have a group of ladies that I meet with. We meet once a month. We have dinner together. There's 5 of us. We're all in different industries. We're all in different industries. Residential broker, myself, a communications person, a social media person, a writer, and lawyer. So and we get together, and the brainstorming that happens in these dinners is crazy. Like, it's because you get different perspectives. So it's not only about being in your industry, even though
Right.
that's what I said many times. It's go to the running club, find a group that you can have dinner with regularly, whatever it is, but anything that can help you be better, advance, grow your business personally, all of it is important.
I think so, for sure. It's had a dramatic impact on me and my quality of existence, and
Mhm.
just overall my confidence, like continuing to invest in the different communities. So, speaking of communities, there's this huge Twitter commercial real estate community, and you've jumped right into it and got to go to the X Gala that I talked a little bit about before. I really like the things that you did to bring people together, from like the breakfast and the pizza afterwards. I think you have like a great gift for like bringing people together. Have you always been that way? Like a great hostess, or
Um,
uh yeah.
I've yeah, I love hosting, so the
Yeah.
answer is yes. But I really never saw myself like that. Like I didn't know that that was what I was doing. But in reference to the event specifically, it was important. I thought it was important for us. There's so many people that went to that event that didn't know each other,
Yep.
which was, we all knew each other through Twitter or X, I should say.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could change saying Twitter, but we all
It's
knew
not
each
like
other.
you can't type www.x.com. You still go to
Yeah.
twitter.com. So it's just so, confusing. But yes.
So I couldn't, like, I thought that it would be great if, all the ladies got together and simply met before the event. And it changed the event for us in the sense that, like, how nice that we already knew each other and now we can network with other people as well. Like, we could be together and network with others. And at that event, I know there are ladies that have become, great friends, ladies that have done business together.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it's all about. That what is really, and James was so generous to host us at his pizza shop.
Yes.
Open the
Name the pizza
pizza
shop and
shop for
where it is.
breakfast.
Yes. Yes. Tell us about the pizza shop and the breakfast. So what pizza shop was it called again?
I'm going to say it wrong. Brunella.
Brunelli's. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's down more in the Chelsea district, right? It was more
You
in Chelsea. It
know,
was like down in the tens or something.
I take an
Pretend to
Uber,
be.
so I'm going to lie to you wherever it is. But
I think it was.
I hate that because this is like, but yes, it was. You can find him on Instagram and Twitter, which was great. And Antonia, which has a development company, was there as well. She also co-hosted
Yeah.
the breakfast. We did it together, and it's just fabulous. The whole point was for all of us to get together and
Mhm.
spend time and network, and I think we accomplished that. And hopefully, we can do it again next year if we have another gala.
I think we'll have another gala, and
I would say so.
I'm pretty sure we'll stay on the list. So I think they're just saying they might make it a little bigger next time, but hopefully not too much bigger. But yeah, thanks to like us sharing rooms before, like we ended up finding an Airbnb to stay at in New York, although we
Oh,
didn't know it
nice.
was illegal at the time. So,
Yes. Oh,
okay.
well,
Well, but it was a lot of
it
fun.
worked.
And then all I know though is Casey Flannery and we hit a wall at the gala, but then the other half of our group, we hear them coming in like really late. And then they said there was like a pizza after thing. And then the next day, Casey and I are running around New York City like at 8 o'clock in the morning, and the rest of our party's like sleeping. Because
I
they
heard
went up.
about that pizza. I heard about that pizza event. I wasn't there, but I heard that it was pretty fabulous.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So there was, yeah. So for those of you who don't know what the X Gala is, it's put on by Bob Knackle, which is like really like the top commercial real estate investment sales broker in New York City, and Don Tetman, strip mall guy, or I think it might be strip mall guy's thing, and then Bob's with him. But any event,
Yeah.
they curated a list of some of the top influencers from Twitter X, and then invited them to it, and a lot of us stayed like multiple days, and then there were events around it. But yeah, Natasha hosted a ladies breakfast at the pizza place, and then the pizza guy actually then hosted like an after well, I guess there was an after party after the gala, but then he had an after party after the gala.
Right,
So
right,
oh
right.
my gosh. But I think
James is
relationships are
awesome.
key. I feel so much more comfortable because of that and because of different events in our industry and otherwise talking to people. So we talked about it a little bit offline before we like joined and talked in, or you have like alluded to there, there's good times and bad times, regardless of the asset class. Considering, challenges and fluctuations in the real estate market, how do you manage risk and how do you help to ensure the sustainability of your investments?
Uh, I believe buying right, and that's the first thing. And what does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
Well, let me back up. First, I think finding a niche focus. So I focus on these two markets and I know how to underwrite in those specific markets. Many times, what you see is being published doesn't match what's happening in a specific area.
Yep.
So, really, I've really focused on these specific areas and I know what's happening at different times, and that helps me react quickly. Then go buying right. What do I mean by that? Leverage properly. Don't over leverage. I believe in fixing debt. I don't believe in floating debt. So we have gone through this period of all the increased rates without trouble because we know what we have as far as
Mm.
what our
You were
commitments
picky
are
on the debt that you
financially.
took. Yeah, that makes sense.
So that's another thing. I kind of mentioned it already, but look at the data for your area as opposed to large. So that, and then I am a long-term holder of real estate. So have a long-term vision in how you manage your asset. And that's different than short-term. If you're flipping a property, regardless of the asset class, again, if you're flipping a property, many times those that are flipping properties are doing the bare minimum thing so that it looks right, lipstick, let's go and sell the property.
Right.
If you're a long-term holder, you can't have that same strategy. So for example, roof impact windows. We're in South Florida, right? Roof impact windows. Those things happen immediately in the assets that I buy. I want to enjoy, and I want the residents to enjoy the benefits of those things. If I have impact windows, they feel safe, and I feel safe that they're feeling safe, if you will. And so then those start creating operational efficiencies as well when you do those things. You enjoy the capital improvements because you're doing them up front. You're not doing them on the back end to sell. And then you can start creating other operational efficiencies. All of those things put together allow for increased revenue, which translates to increased returns.
Yeah. I think that's so important to have a specific focus. Like one of the areas I focus on a lot is Winter Park, Florida, that's north of Orlando.
Mm-hmm.
And people are like, office is dead, office is dead. We're at like a less than 3% vacancy rate for class A
Okay.
office there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like musical chairs. Like I know what spaces are coming available and like I have this person and then I'm going to move them over to here. And like I
Exactly.
know that there's not, and right now, I mean, the government's changing to allow a bit more development, but we lost a lot of buildings to be redeveloped into different things. And so there's
Mm-hmm.
just a scarcity of like office space. And so, but if I was not really focused in an area, I would just be like, oh, there's nothing. But then instead, because I'm super ingrained, I know all the
Right.
owners and they tell me before it even comes because they know I have the users. I think then I'm more successful than my peers, like in that area. So I
because
definitely
you're
agree with that.
because you're micro focused. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Focus on that area and really learn. Focus on a area and learn it really well.
Yeah. We have been chatting for a while now. I want to focus, talk a little. I think I think we already talked a little bit about those that are looking to scale and having a vision and what to do there. But looking forward, what do you think are like trends and opportunities that you're most excited for in the multifamily?
I'm
arena.
most excited to hopefully buy a property before the end of the year. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I am very aggressively attempting to let everyone know that I am an active buyer of multifamily in Hialeah, Little Havana, and hoping that I'm able to secure something soon. So I'm excited about opportunities for growth
Yeah.
for our company. I'm excited in the areas that I invest in, that there's so many, so many people coming into South Florida. So there's, multifamily. We're going to have, housing available for them. I'm excited about that as well. And I think I'm in a market that's just doing fabulous. Like I mentioned, if you buy right and you have your specific standards, you can't go wrong.
I find in my life, whether it's business or personal, if I have specific standards for myself, and then when I go against it, I would say the majority of the time, I'm like, I went against that, and then I had this bad outcome. And it wasn't because I didn't hold firm to that boundary or standard, or whether it's taking on a client.
Or
I
your
I
instinct.
kind of have this listing, or I have an inkling that this isn't a good client or whatever, and I go against that. I would say the majority. Sometimes I get lucky, and it turns out okay. But I would agree with you that you have this, and not that it can't evolve over time, but you should have a general construct.
Oh, it should evolve over time.
Yeah.
But you should always have your checklist that you follow, including your instinct. You should follow all, have your checklist and then see if you really want to deviate. Because I agree, when you deviate, many times you regret it. But you don't have to be rigid in the sense of it should evolve as you learn and as you grow.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Well, this has been awesome. Is there anything that we didn't get to chat about today that you want to speak to our listeners about?
This has been absolutely fabulous. I love chatting with you, and I love chatting real estate. I love encouraging people to invest in real estate. And I would say if anyone wants to, learn more about investing in multifamily, I love chatting and I love helping others get started, and, letting people know what I do. And if anybody wants to reach out, they can. I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram, and my handle's Nat Falconi. So I'd love to talk to anyone that would be interested in chatting. And I also recommend that if you're not investing in real estate, get started. Start looking. Start seeing what asset class you like and start investing.
And another thing on top of that, if you are not involved in social media, get involved with that too. I think it keeps like a top of mind awareness. I think one thing that's been helpful is I'm up here in Orlando, you're down in South Florida, and we can still keep that connection.
Absolutely. And we stay in touch with each other 100%.
Yeah. Awesome. And then, you gave your handles, and then your company website is falconi-capital.com, right?
Yes, that's right.
Awesome. I remembered. Well, this was good. Great. I just can't wait. I don't even know when I'm going to see you again. I might not even be until Beth Azor's thing in the spring, unless we run into each other otherwise. So
that's right. That's right. And I'm happy I'm going to see you there. That's my favorite event of the year.
It is my favorite event of the year as well. So it's been awesome. So, well, thank you so much to my listeners. I love that we are continuing to grow our audience. I really appreciate it. And let's all continue to go beyond and strengthening that performance mindset. This is Amy Calandrino signing off.